Alright, in this essential crafting skill, I'm going to show how I do the running stitch. And the running stitch is a pretty easy basic stitch, especially when you're working with really dense leather or dense material. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a welt. I have two pieces of leather here and then a piece of buckskin that's going to operate as a welt. And what a welt does in sewing is actually strengthens the stitch between the two items. Normally you're going to stitch something wrong side out and then you're going to turn it right side in. And sometimes if the stitching isn't tight enough, when you turn the item right side out, it ends up kind of, the stitching ends up stretching or coming out on you. So adding a welt helps prevent that. So usually with leather, what you'll need to do oftentimes is apply some sort of adhesive. That could be pine pitch, it could be hide glue, it could be Elmer's glue. Right now I've just got some commercial, what do you call this, Gorilla Glue, and I just want a little bit. I'm not trying to really plaster this down, and you never really want to do that in case you mess up. But what is a good idea is just to have this in place so it doesn't go anywhere, and it'll help you concentrate on your stitching. And then that'll be tacked down for a little bit, and then I'm just going to add a little bit here on this side just to tack it down. So yeah, Elmer's glue or hide glue is better. It's water soluble, so eventually it'll go away. Now I'm going to sew the outside inward. So basically the shiny part of this leather is going to be the outside, the outer part. So those two pieces are going together. So I'm just going to place them together first. Okay. Now you don't have to do this. I mean, you can kind of wrestle with your piece if you'd like. But I've just found that it's easier just to kind of glue down heavier pieces before I sew them together. So we're going to let that set. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a knot in the end here. I don't have to, but I'm going to for this essential crafting skill. I'm just going to go ahead and do this magic knot. I'm just wrapping this around a few times and then once on the back side like so, and then one more around, and then I grab and I just pull the thread through, and then there's my knot. So this will help make things a little easier. Go ahead and kind of get rid of the tail. Okay. Alright, so now hopefully this is set, and we're just going to pick a side. It doesn't really matter which side, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pierce this through, and let's say this is the side that I'm going to work towards, so I'm going to pierce through the back side so my knot is not showing. Running stitch is really easy. Okay, so all I'm going to do with this type of material is just go up and down, up and down. So I can just do this really easy, and depending on the size of your needle, you should be able to just thread this through like so, and then do one more. And what I'm trying to do is thread this through in one pass, make it easier, like so. And just pull the thread through. So that's really all it is. Okay, so on the opposite side there. So, and then I determine my length. Okay, so I want one right about there, and I could do the same thing and continue on down the line. Okay, pull this up and tuck that down about right there. Just like that. And I like to pull the stitches taut, okay, like so. So we start to have this sort of look. And then to finish off, I'm going to pierce towards the end here. And then I'm just going to catch the end of the black here. just a little bit. Then I'm gonna go up one more time. Oops, I went through the same hole. That can happen. Okay. So there. And then offset my next pass. Again, into the welt. Go down the previous hole again. And then cinch that off. Make sure it's all straight and tacked down. And then at this juncture, I like to just go from behind there and thread underneath the previous thread, and then pass my needle through at least 2 times. In this case, I'm going to do 3, like so, and then pull it tight. And this will form our knot. And that's how I like to end those. Okay? Take my scissors here. I can snip that. Okay. So essentially, this is your running stitch. It's pretty rustic, pretty primitive looking stitch. It's quick and dirty, but this is really good for when you have really dense material. I guess, you know, if it's thick buckskin, if it's rawhide, if it's buffalo hide, if it's elk hide, anything really thick, denim, thick canvas. And then if you're wanting to put 2 pieces together, especially if it's a garment like shoes or something like that, moccasins or something like that, then it's a good idea to put a welt in. And so that's just a piece of material, and I'm using opposite material so that it's easier to see on camera. So I would technically use black to black if I was making an all black piece. And then when you undo it, or when you turn it right side out, this is what you would get, kind of this look. And on some of your handmade garments, and some of even your garments at home, especially shoes that are traditionally handmade, this is what you'll have as a welt. And what you can do is you can then, at that point, you're going to trim. Make sure you don't cut your stitches. You're going to trim really close to the surface. Make sure you're not catching anything. That's a risk. Yeah, don't cut your material. What you're trying to reserve. But you're just trying to trim the welt. Okay, so it's nice and even, nice and easy, like so. Okay, nicked a little bit of it, but you get the point, hopefully. So essentially, that's using the running stitch. It was real quick and easy. As you saw, it didn't take very much. But this stitching is now it's on here. Okay, and especially if I needed to turn this out, if it was for a bag or pocket or something like that. So there you go.